So we'd been having a bit of fun looking for every little track and driving every track and just trying to find some wilderness. There isn't as much wilderness as everyone makes out, so you generally end up on the beach or in a riverbed. Most riverbeds have got easy access, so just before or after a bridge you can pull down onto the riverbed. The majority of the riverbeds we drove were around pebbles like this, river stones, and the rivers weren't too deep. There were one or two that got a little bit deep, but there also wasn't too much mud. At the end of this trek we ended up with quite a lot of mud, and I didn't want to do it having a single vehicle, so we turned around and tried the next river. There's lots of little side roads where there's a no exit sign, so it basically means the road will end up at a farm. The law is interesting. Some rivers are public, some rivers belong to the landowner, some of them belong to Maori trusts. But every bridge we crossed where there was an access gate down to the river, there was no signs at all saying no access. There was nothing. On one gate entering the riverbed there was a sign saying you enter at your own risk, but that was it. There was nothing else on any of the tracks or river entries. Obviously, because of all the forests, fires are prohibited, so take your stove with you, or you take a picnic or whatever you want to do, and just go and explore. It's really, really beautiful. The riverbeds change. Looking at Google Earth and what we actually saw were two different things. So when you get there, you'll just have to play it by ear and have a look and see where it's not too deep. But go along and have some fun. We took every side road and we really went everywhere. This was a really pleasant little beach called Horseshoe Bay. We pulled onto the beach. There were some really big boats that had gone out fishing. Enormous trailers were parked there, and there were some locals camped on the end of the beach, and we just found a spot and put up our chairs and just sat and read. It was really very pleasant. Quite a lot of people swimming, odd jet ski, and a whole bunch of kids riding up and down on quad bikes, but it's really pretty. So I always suggest you take every little side road. You never know what gem you're going to find. What is quite disappointing is that everything is derelict. The jetty or wharf is buggered. The slipway that you're seeing in this picture now has got a hole about 1/2 meter deep, and just nothing has been maintained. There's just nothing that can be used. You can't launch a boat, you can't go fishing, and you would think the local community would try and generate a little bit of tourism. So this tree behind me is 350 years old and stands 21 meters high. It's the oldest putakawa tree in New Zealand. A lot of the beaches are covered in driftwood, so trees have been washed up, I gather, from the forestry areas and washed down rivers. But some of the beaches you can't really even get onto, and unless it's low tide, there's no room to drive between the water and all the trees. If fires were allowed, there would be plenty of wood for a big beach bonfire. This little town is called Tumaru Bay. It sounds very nice. As you're driving in, it reminded me of the West Indies. Lots of dense bush, green, really pretty. But as you get into the town, the booklet we got on the town didn't reflect what we saw. Most of the buildings are fairly derelict. A lot of them, the roofs have collapsed. There's one little pub which looks quite nice with 3 accommodation units. But the buildings on the left hand side here are abandoned, and the jetty or the wharf once again has not been maintained, and it's closed to the public, so there's not much to do in the town. When we left, we saw a coffee shop. Again, the coffee machine wasn't working, and he suggested we go somewhere else, so we didn't stay in the town. The weather changed, so we took off for Gisborne. So we'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.